Food stamp fraud is becoming a major concern in North Carolina. It comes as the number of people who receive assistance has taken a huge jump.
Take a look at this. From the year 2000 till now, the amount of assistance given out in Buncombe County alone has grown from nearly $10 million to almost $56 million.
Now, 21,000 households, more than 38,000 participants take food stamps, and almost 40% of them are children. Well, now some are worried. While the program has grown, so has the amount of fraud.
Tonight in a special report, News 13's Frank Faboni shows us why investigators fear the food stamp program is filled with waste.
That sounds good. We'll have that one.
That's the taxpayer money, you know.
The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as food stamps, can be a lifesaver for people who need it.
Okay, food stamp? Yeah.
They get government money transferred to an EBT card to purchase eligible foods.
Only food. No alcohol, no tobacco. But they can buy candy, anything, how much they want to buy, they can buy.
But a News 13 investigation found some people are misusing the cards.
You've got 8 people and they're all bringing up tons of food and all these snacks and junk and all kinds of crap and putting it on the counter, and it's all one person's food stamp card. How is that fair?
This convenience store clerk, who did not want to be identified, says EBT users often buy, sell, or trade benefits right before her eyes.
As someone who works in a convenience store, do you see this?
All the time.
This your card?
The owner of Biltmore Groceries convenience store in Asheville says he sees it too.
Some people say, you want to buy? I say, we don't buy, you know. They try to, I say, no, I don't do that.
We have actually, had raids on drug dealers where we found multiple cards in their possession that did not belong to them or any family member, and clearly were the result of swapping for drugs.
Buncombe County District Attorney Ron Moore began investigating food assistance fraud last spring. Fraud, he says, is nearly impossible to track.
They do not have a machine that you swipe the card in that is attached to your cash register. So the card may not necessarily know what you are purchasing.
That means outdated machines don't prevent the purchase of prohibited items such as alcohol or tobacco.
Fraud is kind of a misnomer of a term.
But Buncombe County Program Administrator Phil Harden says fraud represents less than 1% of their total cases.
Well, I think no one does know, and I think a lot of the rules are designed to keep folks from knowing.
Moore says that's because of costly investigations, weak penalties for convictions, and the requirement that all illegally obtained funds are returned to the feds instead of being shared with local law enforcement, offering further incentive to stop the fraud.
There's been very few prosecutions through the years.
One of the rare prosecutions happened in McDowell County. From January to April of this year, undercover officers acting on a tip used EBT cards to purchase non-eligible food items or exchange the benefits for cash at this Express Mart on Highway 226. Federal oversight data estimated more than $100,000 in fraud from 2011 to April of this year at this one store alone. The owner and an associate were convicted of 9 felonies and ordered to repay $45,000 that went back to the USDA. A financial crimes prosecutor for North Carolina's Conference of District Attorneys says inaction and indifference makes it possible for hundreds of convenience store vendors across North Carolina to commit EBT fraud with near impunity, costing taxpayers multiplied millions of dollars.
What happens is there's no one that checks your ID when you use a card.
Moore says including a photo on the cards could help.
But it's certainly something that would cut down on fraud.
Solutions, something even vendors say is needed to stop the underground economy in food stamp fraud.
I really honestly don't think that it should be, be able to use at convenience stores or gas stations anywhere. I think that that's wrong.
In Asheville, Frank Faboni, News 13.